Hi, David Gerard here. I'm in St. Joseph, Missouri, the town I was born in, back visiting the Glore Psychiatric Museum. Been called one of the 50 most interesting museums in the United States. Provides a historical look at the care given to mentally ill patients from the 1800s to modern day. Hi, I'm with Sarah Parks and at the Glore Psychiatric Museum, and can you give us an overview of the museum and contents?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Glore Psychiatric Museum started in the late 60s as an open house, just to kind of get the community in to the museum and kind of see what the state hospital was doing as far as treatments. And the original exhibits, which we have upstairs, they were basically just replicas of some older, like medieval to closer to modern day, replicas of treatments or things that early on they thought were mental illnesses. So they were created by Mr. Glore and a group of his occupational therapy patients. So they made all of those. It was a hit because they ended up demonstrating a lot of them, which I think kind of helped spur on people's want to know more about it. But since then, it's kind of grown into knowing that history side, but also kind of breaking the stigma behind mental health. And now we've got basically one of the medical surgical buildings for the old state hospital, and all 4 floors of it are that psychiatric museum.
Okay, and this is one of the more intriguing exhibits here.
I would say it gets people looking at it the most. The actual patient ended up dying suddenly in her early 30s, and they were not sure why, because otherwise she was healthy. So they ended up doing an autopsy and ended up finding all of this in her stomach and intestinal region.
Which includes how many nails?
Oh gosh, there is like 400 nails of different sizes. We've got the actual contents indexed out there. Buttons, earrings, pieces of glass. My big thing with interacting with tour groups or just the public in general is kind of setting that tone of these are people first, and what happened to them may be terrifying and horrible, especially in that first exhibit room. But we're trying to, do better, and this is how far we've come, help us break, that stigma behind mental illness. This is where we've got to go. The 3rd floor is one of my favorites because it gives people that tie inside someone else's perspective. Because we've got a lot of art, history stuff up here, stuff that was made by patients, things that they worked on. We have an embroidery piece that a lot of times one of the schizophrenic patients was just seen as like non-communicative, like didn't have any ties to reality or whatever. And they looked at these embroidery pieces and they wished they would have conversations or song lyrics written in them, and it just kind of shifts that perspective for people, like, oh, they may have this mental illness, but they still have those ties to reality. Yeah, so we have started our Arthur Kraft rotating collection. It opens January 16th. We'll be here for about 6 months, and he was a Kansas City artist. Spent 5 weeks at the state hospital here in St. Joseph for alcoholism. And these are a few of his paintings. We've got some of his prints. He actually made a book while he was here called Sounds of Fury, which is what a lot of these panels are of. He just wrote about his time here, some of the patients, so people can come and see his art.